So, there were two little old men who lived in a cottage in the woods. And every day, one of the little old men would go out and he would cut wood. He'd find a tree and cut it down and chop it into little bits. And he could bring the bits back and they could use it to heat the house by burning it on the fireplace, or to put it in the range to cook. And then any was left over, he could take that wood into a market. He could sell it. He could make some money to buy, I don't know, maybe buy some vegetables, or maybe a sausage or a chop. Anyway, he'd go and do the wood cutting, and the other little old man would stay back in the house, and he'd sweep the house, and he'd dust, and he'd do the cooking, get everything ready. It was a nice way of working it out, except they would jip at each other. They would. The guy who was out chopping, he'd think, it must be nice just staying in a house all day. He wouldn't think about how maybe it's quite boring or quite hard work. The one who had to stay in the house all day, he'd think, I bet he has a lovely time wandering about in the woods, looking at the wildflowers and listening to the birds and all that. He wouldn't think about the hard work and the blistered hands. Sometimes they would have a bit of a go at each other, if you can imagine that. Now one day, the little old man who did the chopping went out into the forest to look for a tree to cut down. Now, he'd cut down all the suitable trees near the house, so he went a bit further, but he'd cut down the ones that were suitable around there, so he had to go even further into the forest, further than he'd ever been before, into a new and a magical part of the forest. Not that he knew it was magical. He saw a tree that looked very suitable. It was a large oak tree. He thought, if I chop that one up, that will give us loads of firewood. So he got his axe, spat on his hands, and lifted it with a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Don't cut me, came a voice. He looked around. Strange, I'm sure I heard a voice. There's no one here. I must have imagined it. So he spat on his hands, and with a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Don't cut me, came the voice again. He's looking around. There's no one here. Am I going mad in my old age? There's no one here. Oh, come on. Last time, come on. And he spat on his hands, and he lifted his axe with a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Don't cut me, came the voice. And this time he heard it was up, so he looked up and he saw a tiny, wizened, little green sort of a gnome of a creature sitting high up on a branch up in the oak tree. He looked up and the creature looked down, and the creature said, "Please don't cut me. I am the spirit of the trees. I live in this mighty oak. It is my home. Please do not cut me down." And the woodcutter said, "Well, I have to cut trees. That's how I make my living. That's how I heat my home. And today it's your tree. I'm sorry about that, but every tree's got its time." "Oh, no, please don't cut me down. If you save my tree, I will give you not 1, not 2, but 3 wishes." "Oh, 3 wishes. Do you promise?" "I promise." "Okay, I'll leave your tree for now then." And off he went with his axe on his shoulder, walking back towards the house, thinking, wow, 3 wishes. I wonder what I should wish for. Should I wish for a fine house, or nice clothes? Should I wish for money? Or maybe... And he thought, and he thought, and he thought. And he thought his way all the way back to the house, and he walked straight in, and he said, Oh, worries are over. I think I've solved everything. You've got that." But he started trying to tell, but his friend looked at him and said, "Get your muddy boots out of my kitchen. But I just met a little old man, and he said that I could have..." "Don't you worry about that. Look at your filthy shoes all over my nice clean floor. You made a right mess of it. You do this every time. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but I have to tell you, because it's this thing. Just get over there, sit down and keep quiet." Well, that wasn't very nice. So the woodcutter went through and he sat down in the other room, and he started feeling a bit sad. He thought, "Oh, maybe I did it wrong. I should have maybe taken my time, and I did get some mud on the floor, which wasn't so good of me, but I didn't mean to. It was and I do feel so hungry as well. I hope there's something nice for tea, not just vegetables. Oh, I wish I had a lovely juicy sausage." Down the chimney came a rumbling sound, and out of the fireplace bounced, a great big juicy sausage and landed on his lap. "Oh," he said. I wish I had a sausage, and now I do have a sausage. I've wasted one of the wishes." Out of the kitchen, in a terrible temper, came the other little old man. He said, "What's that you got? You got a sausage? Why didn't you tell me you got a sausage? That's not fair. Would you have eaten it all by yourself and not shared with me?" He says, No, it's not. It's a matter. I wished for a sausage." "Wish? I wish that sausage was stuck to your nose." And instantly the sausage was stuck to his nose. "Oh no," he said. "You said, 'I wish the sausage was stuck to your nose,' and now it is. You see, I met this little old man and he gave me 3 wishes, and by mistake I wished for a sausage. And by mistake you wished it onto my nose, and now we've only got 1 wish left. Come on, get this sausage off me." So the woodcutter sort of held on to his chair as best he could, brace himself back, while the other old man grabbed hold of the sausage and braced his foot up against it and pulled it off, but he couldn't pull it off. He couldn't pull it off because it was a magical sausage. So he went back to the kitchen. He got the biggest, sharpest knife. He came back and he held the sausage and tried to saw it up. The poor woodcutter said, "Oh my no, that's good." You can imagine, of course it wouldn't come off. It was a magical sausage stuck to his nose. So there was only one thing to do, wasn't there? What did they have to do? You're right. We're going to have to do it. I know. Last wish as well. Oh well, here we go. Let's say it together. So they held hands. They said it together. "I wish the sausage wasn't stuck to my nose." And it fell down. Well, they shared the sausage, and it was the most delicious sausage they had ever eaten. And they decided to listen to each other a bit more carefully. And they decided to take a bit more time when they were speaking. And they decided to try not to be jealous of each other. So the woodcutter did go out into the forest again, and he tried to find the old tree again. He thought maybe if he threatened it with his axe again, he'd get 3 more wishes, but he never saw the tree again. He never saw the little old spirit of the tree again. But he did live more or less happily ever after. That's the story of the 3 wishes. See you later.